Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. I did a video yesterday on are you going to survive an EMP SHTF event if you live in a high density area close to the road. And it wasn't to make people mad, it wasn't people discouraged, it was to have you honestly evaluate your situation. When I did the expert critique for Doomsday Preppers the first 2 seasons, a lot of people didn't think they had a bad place, or they overemphasized or overvalued their supplies. A few particular said, oh yeah, I got a year's supply of food, and I saw what they had, did some basic quick math, and some people had 1,000 calories for a year per person. That's not enough. Some people had solar and they listed it all out, and I actually physically looked at their batteries and they were like 8 or 9 years old, never hooked up, still on the pallet they came in. Charge controller had leaked from a roof leaked. The system was absolutely junk, and they put all this credit into it. So I want you to think about what you honestly have and make an honest evaluation of where you are, and then come to the conclusion that it's good, it's bad, or I can work with it. If you are one of these people in a densely populated city, you have more work to do. Can you survive? Yes, you can survive. But you need to do the work now so you can survive. If you're in the suburbs, it's definitely better than the city because there's more resources, there's more open grass, there's more places to plant gardens. If you're in a city, in an apartment building, there is no way for you to grow food other than maybe on your balcony in some container gardens. But that's what I want you to get to. If you can't move, then say, okay, I can grow tomatoes, I can grow some herbs, I can grow whatever. Maybe you can grow some cucumbers and have them grow up instead of spreading out of the ground. Now is the time to figure that out. So if I made you mad, too bad. I don't care. I hope I made you mad. I hope I got you thinking that, hey, I need to improve my spot, or I need to move. Some of you can't move. I understand that. But you can come up with the plan where you can bug out. And people are saying right now, oh, if you bug out, you're going to die. Guess what? Look in Africa, that volcano that's going off. 1 million, 2 million, I can't remember how many, have to leave. They physically have to move their butts from point A to point B if they want to survive, or they're going to be killed. So all you preppers out there say, I'm not bugging out. You have to have a bug out plan, and some of you don't, because you say, I'm going to live and die here. I'm going to dig a foxhole and I'll fight it out. Guess what? There's going to come a time when you might have to leave, and if you don't have that plan, you're going to suffer. The people that have that plan are going to be able to bug out quickly, efficiently, take everything they need. So, if you're in this area here, you can still do stuff. It's not going to be as good as the guy that has an acre of grass in a suburb area where he can grow a garden and have some chickens. But there's hope for you, and I will get to it. So, if you're in the suburbs, You have a good chance of surviving if you start doing things now and getting a network built. I understand you cannot move. You financially cannot move. That's all right. I got an option for you too. All right. This really applies to everybody, but mostly people in the city and people in the suburbs. Your homework for today, you need to start walking your neighborhood and write down every person that has a garden. Write it down. Start close and get that inner little circle, and then spread out as you get time. If you call yourself a prepper and you haven't done this, you're behind the 8 ball. You need to hurry up. Figure out every person in your area that has a garden. That's a huge plus. That tells me that they have an attitude of either they're really into organic food and they don't want to eat the crap in the store, which is good, or maybe they're doing some prepping and you have an ally there. Chickens. If somebody has chickens, write that down. Hunter. When hunting season comes around, pay close attention. Watch early morning who leaves, who might have some camouflage, who's driving a 4-wheel truck and loading the 4-wheeler up. You need to write this stuff down. Stickers. Look on their vehicle. They have any type of political stickers. Big plus. You know, if they have a Biden sticker, they might not be more inclined to have an AR-15. You never know, though. Flags. What do they fly? If they fly the American flag all the time, that's a big plus to me. If they never fly the American flag and they fly other flags of left-leaning, that will tell you something. Are these people bad people? No, they just don't think like we do, and they might believe in big government, which to me would be bad. Definitely political signs. In today's environment, a lot of people I know don't put up political signs if they live in the suburbs because they would be harassed. They would never put a Trump sign up. I talked to tons of you guys. So your homework is, if you're in these two city or suburbs, you need to start making a list. Because if you make a list and all of a sudden you found out, wow, that guy that lives there has 4 of these on that he's doing, that's a huge plus. Next, neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch is huge. If you're in the suburbs, talk to your neighbors and just don't approach prepping at all. Approach crime increasing. Let's get a text list, so if something happens, it's here. I sometimes get texts, hey, there's a suspicious vehicle. Bango, bango, and guess what? The people can figure out who it is and report it to law enforcement, and we have a safer community. That's the first step. If you're going to ride it out in the suburbs, get a neighborhood watch, because then you already are communicating about crime or potential crime. And when a bigger crisis comes, you can use that as your base to keep pushing information out. All right, people in the country, we're better off just because we have access to more resources. Here on this property, I have a couple springs. We got the creek. We got rain catchment. I have so many resources. I have places that I could turn regular grass yard into additional garden space. I have trees. I can cut firewood. People out here, I know there's so many pieces of heavy equipment, either from just a tractor to a backhoe to skid steers to mini excavators to dump trucks. It's around here because people in the country have more of that for our personal use. And for a lot of guys who are into the businesses, it's hard to have that business and bring your equipment home if you live in the city. But a lot of these guys have their equipment parked at the home. So in a worst case event, there's a lot of resources here. There's small farms that I know of all over my area. Now, a lot of them are small. There are a few guys that grow vegetables at large scale. But to be honest, we don't grow enough in the 5-10 miles around my house. We don't grow enough to sustain even our population in northern Pickens County. There's no way. It's definitely better than in the city, for sure, and we have a better chance of ramping up our food production to meet our local needs. There's no way New York City can do that. There's no way downtown Greenville, not far from here, can do that. So, you might not think that EMP is going to be a problem. And I only put EMP out there because that is the worst problem that can happen. When you're on a football team, you try to practice and work out plays so you can beat the best team. You don't say, well, there's a team over there. Let's just do these plays because I know we can beat those guys. No, you make a plan always to beat the best, highest rated team. Because if you can beat them, you can beat these other lower teams. Unless there's an upset. So, you got to do something. And I truly believe EMP is, the chance is that big. It's growing. My concern for you right now is not an EMP. My concern for you is a financial economic collapse. High inflation, stagflation, a collapse of life as we know it, the value of the dollar collapsing, you having to hustle just to come up with basic food to sustain your family. It's going to be easier for me in the country. It's going to be easier for my neighbors. It's going to be harder for you city folks, and it's going to be not as hard for you suburban folks because you got more grass. You can convert more things into garden space. So let's get down to, all right, it is a worst case event at EMP. You in the city have to come up with a plan. You just can't say, well, it happened, I'm going to die. I'll be the lucky ones because I'll die first. No, you need a plan. That's why what you have going for you is us in the country know that if you're a hardcore prepper and you have to stay in the city, you need to get out. And if you realize you need to get out, who do I want to come to my retreat? Who? Do I want, say that's me? Do I want a neighbor a mile away to come to my retreat? Heck no. I want him to stay there because that way, if he has a strong position there, we can relay information. Even over the GMRSs or the family radios, we can pass information back and forth. And it's an advantage to both of us not to be sitting at the same spot. I'm looking for you and you and you and you. The guys that I know in the city have to jump and move quickly to sustain yourself. You have to get out of the cities in a worst case event. So that's who I want to have in my my prepping group. Because when the crap hits the fan, I know you're going to jump. Because if you wait too long, if you're in the city and you don't jump right away, it might be very difficult to get out to the country. Or you might try to hold up in the city, but guess what? I need you today to make this retreat work and to secure it. I don't need you in a month. There's problems already in the country, so we need to get working on the plan. So you have a lot to offer. Will I take someone from the suburbs? Yeah, definitely, if they're not in a good spot. But guess what? The people in the suburbs are not going to jump up and run. Look at the riots that happen in the city. Those people got to get out of the way. If we have civil disobedience, civil disturbances, they got to leave quick. These people aren't going to have to leave as quick because they're in the suburbs, so they're going to have more time before that problem hits you. So, I hope I haven't discouraged you. I hope I've given you the ability to honestly evaluate your situation and come up with a plan. All I want you to do is a plan. You can't make a plan when the crap has hit the fan. The plan will not work. Look at anything in business. Look at anything in life. Making a plan before the crap hits the fan or the problem exists, like in a business. If you got a plan, say, and something happens, oh yeah, we got that plan, let's implement it. It's so much better. So these people in the city, I'm calling them tent and tarp. I'm doing it myself. I'll probably show you what I'm doing out in the woods. Tent and tarp. TNT. A tarp, a large tarp, not just a little tarp, but a 20 by 30 tarp set between two trees and some rope tied down securely and a couple tents under there is so much better than trying to go through SHTF here. So if you're here and you got friends either in the suburbs or the country, see if you can set up a camping spot. All it's going to be is set up for a tent and tarp. As you go along, buy one of those nice heavy-duty plastic picnic tables and put out there. Develop it into a place where you can take your kids. Develop it into a place where you can go camp. You have to check. You have to try. You have to evaluate your equipment. You got to set that tent up a few times a year. You just can't buy it and throw it in the closet and think, okay, at 3 in the morning when I'm bugging out, I'm going to be able to set it up in pure darkness. It's not going to happen. Or you start setting it up and you find, oh my Lord, they shorted me 3 poles. Or, oh my gosh, there's a rip in it. That's why you got to use your equipment. And this will give you a reason to go camping. So, you people here, and some of you people here might be called tent and tarp people. There's nothing wrong with that. Having a safe place for your family is huge.